I was going through The Last Dance again. It's so well done. Even if you don't like Michael Jordan, just as a documentary goes, it's very entertaining. It's fast-paced. It contains so much. For those of us that are older, there's a lot of nostalgia involved, just remembering those days. And of course, with that comes the music of those days. And they featured a lot of great music. And I was thinking about how many of the songs were from Jordan's second three-peat, which was a pretty special time in life for me. I was fresh into California and I was DJing, so I knew a lot of music. Let me give you a sampler of 96 through 98.
Come on. I'm not a player, I just crush a lot.
Backbeat, the word is on the street that the fire in your heart is out.
I'll be gone till November, I'll be gone till November.
Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo.
You know that girl looks good.
Crazy, right? And there was enough variety in there that I'm sure viewers didn't like all of it, and most of that wasn't in The Last Dance. My point is, The Last Dance reminded me of how much was going on from 96 to 98. Basically, the second three-peat years. And we'll get to the first three-peat years as well. And yes, rockers, I have a montage for you as well. And there's something else that maybe we don't want to talk about, but I'm going to go ahead and just address it. In the middle of all of that, there was this guy that was dominating the charts. He had hit after hit after hit, and he's featured right at the beginning of The Last Dance, Mr. Pervo himself. Yep. Sorry. I knew David Bowie's Let's Dance way before this came out. In fact, I remember it from the actual 80s, 1983, I believe.
Put on your red shoes and dance the blues.
And look, as much as it ticks me off when people basically make a whole nother song built on someone else's song, I had to give him credit. There was a nice catchy beat added to an already great song.
What you waiting for? Let the freak show begin. How they came in a truck. Nah, puff, that's what it is.
But the thing, I already didn't like Diddy back then because that was all of his songs. All of his songs that were hits were basically not his songs, and most of the talented parts of those, he was featuring other artists to do those parts. But he was inescapable. I mean, look at this. Redoing someone else's song or sampling another song isn't the worst thing ever. A lot of hits have been made doing that. Even Jimi Hendrix's All Along the Watchtowers remake of Bob Dylan. But a rendition of a song is different than just putting new sounds on top of the existing song. But, you know, that's what Will Smith was doing at the time, too. And, you know, his songs were catchy. There was just something wrong with Diddy. Like the fact that he had a song ready to go shortly after B.I.G. was dead. But I gotta say, it really crossed the line for me when Diddy used Led Zeppelin. And I got even angrier when Robert Plant actually performed with him. Sting did it as well. Let me go through these, because as a grumpy old man, it's important to me for people to know the origins of these songs. And he cranked these out in a short period of time. This was all during the second three-peat. Can't Nobody Hold Me Down is Grandmaster Flash. It also samples Matthew Wilder and Michael Jackson. Mo Money, Mo Problems is Diana Ross's I'm Coming Out. I'll Be Missing You is Every Breath You Take by The Police. Come With Me is Kashmir, Led Zeppelin. I already mentioned David Bowie. What is this? This always bugged me. Okay, let's move on from the Diddy chapter of this, but as long as he's trying to cross genres or whatever's happening there, let me give you the rock montage from basically late 95 to late 98. I'm going to talk about that selection in depth at the end of the video for those who want to stick around for that. Before I talk about the music from the first three-peat, let's talk about music that was in The Last Dance that wasn't during the time period of the first or second three-peat. Right Here, Right Now by Fatboy Slim comes to mind. It was used well in the documentary, but it was released in April of 1999. So that's after Jordan's second retirement.
I Ain't No Joke.
I Ain't No Joke by Eric B. and Rakim was 1987, so that's during Jordan years, but before the first three-peat. I'm Bad, LL Cool J, also 1987. Party Man by Prince, 1989. I loved that song. I loved that they included it, and of course that was associated with the album Prince put out for Batman. If you weren't around, I'll let you know that that movie was kind of a big deal, and Tim Burton's approach to directing was introduced to us. They even had the Beastie Boys in there from 1992's Check Your Head album. And how can I not give love to the Stereo MCs Connected? What a badass song. Tribe Called Quest, Can I Kick It, 1990. Love. And yes, they're guilty of sampling. They sampled Lou Reed's Take a Walk on the Wild Side. But all they did was sample it. It's not like they just rapped on top of another song and called it theirs. Let me change gears and talk about the Alan Parsons Project for a moment. If you don't know, Alan Parsons Project is behind the song Serious that the Bulls used for their team introductions. But turns out other teams also used that song for their introductions, which I thought was a little bit weird. But something else about the Alan Parsons Project, Eye in the Sky by the same band, I hear in the background at the beginning of a lot of the old games that I go back and watch. Not just the year that that song came out, but it seemed to be a favorite to play in the stadiums, on the stadium PAs while the analysts were getting ready to introduce the game. Anyway, what a nice song to hear playing in the stadium, in the auditorium, rather than mumbling, auto-tuned, derogatory music that we have now.
I am the eye in the sky, looking at you.
As nice as it would have been to finish that verse, I'm getting flagged. If you don't know who Cream is, do yourself a favor and get familiar. And their choice for talking about Phil Jackson's hippie phase, that was a great song, I Feel Free. You know when they talked about him thinking he was a lion while he was on acid. And those songs are from well before when Jordan was in the league. Wow, The Last Dance really treated us to a broad range of excellent music. I feel guilty for going through it so quickly. And by the way, how did I leave out Cool Mo D?
Throw my tape on, then I'll watch you 3 seconds later. I got you shaking.
And of course, I threw in some of my own nostalgia, remembering other songs that were coming out in that time. And you can consider this the bonus section. If you want to tune out, go ahead. For those of you who are interested, I'm going to talk about how crazy the different sources of rock music were at that time. I mean, you look back, Tool and Van Halen were producing new music at the same time. And not just that, you had Van Hagar and David Lee Roth Van Halen producing in the same period of time. The band just flip-flopped, did not know what it was doing, but it did both. And I think most of us were happy just to be getting any form of Van Halen. In fact, we saw Van Halen's third lead singer by 1998. Maybe we weren't so happy about that part. Tool follows up Undertow with a crushing album. Rage Against the Machine is still going strong. In fact, they produced 2 great albums in a short period of time. We got another Soundgarden album, as well as experiencing Chris Cornell's solo exploration. Alice in Chains is still going. Korn puts out 3 albums in 4 years. Sepultura releases Roots. We are introduced to Godsmack. Smashing Pumpkins puts out a double album. For better or worse, we go through whatever Metallica was going through. Foo Fighters were still on the rise. We were saying goodbye to live. Ozzy Osbourne refuses to die. And I tried to give a tribute to Pearl Jam, but no matter how short of a segment I played, it would get flagged. I remember Yellow Ledbetter being on the radio pretty much constantly, and then a couple of years later, we had Given to Fly off the Yield album. Stone Temple Pilots were still putting out albums, but I feel like people were more interested in re-listening to Core and Purple than the new stuff. You know what? There's no way I'm going to cover everything. I think I've given some pretty good examples of the broad range of what was happening at the time. Maybe I'll just do a part 2. Why don't you guys tell me who you think should have definitely been sticking out in my memory from that specific time period, late 95 through late 98. And what did you think about this video? How did you like taking a nostalgic walk through some older music that The Last Dance reminded me of? Angry Old Hoops,